and this is a new format for us. So we're sort of struggling with technology, which is great because we're going to talk about technology today. So we're looking really at something that's very topical for everybody right now. It's that whole feeling of AI search and what that all means. I know you've all been on chat yourselves and or other LLMs, other big language models. And you know that there's a lot going on in this. So we're really happy that you could join us today to look a little bit about what it means for your company, how you can get better referenced, what it means to be referenced, and why it's important. So I'm super excited about this. It's very, very topical. There's a lot of demand for this. So it's great. And I don't want it to be in any way overwhelming or like, oh, this is way too technical for us. It's not. It actually makes a lot of sense once you get into it. And there's a lot of helping hands out there. So let's just start. But we thought, Joel and I thought we would sort of cover things up into sort of bite-sized chunks. This is quite a short webinar, it's half an hour. So we're going to talk first about what AI has done and what we're calling it the disruption. Then after that, what it means or can mean for your business for that, but also the challenge, but also the opportunity. And for exporters and for small mid-cap companies, it's a tremendous opportunity because this AI and AI referencing allows you to lead the pack, to be the authoritative voice, not just domestically, but internationally. And that's so important for exporters as well. Then we're going to look at some solutions, what we call the sort of the 4 pillars, the solution that we can get with things, and some next step ideas in that. Please do put your questions in the chat box. It strikes me I have not introduced ourselves either. So my name is Susanna Hardy. I'm Chief Content Officer at IBT Online. And Joelle is joining us today. She's the head of a marketing department at IBT Online, so she leads the whole team. I'm very pleased that she could take some time out of her day to join us on this. And just a quick word on IBT Online. IBT Online is what's called a full stack digital marketing agency. So we do everything from sort of e-commerce to website build to all the aspects of digital marketing and AI today. We started in 2002, so we've been around for a long time, headquartered in Florida, but we have some offices elsewhere, including in Europe, Middle East, China. And we are really known for our internationalization and that whole aspect of localization. So we speak to a lot of US exporters. Doesn't mean we don't do US business too, domestic business, but we also are known for that internationalization. And that whole aspect of, if you're an exporter, AI is really important for you, and getting that AI search is going to be really important to make sure that you are not just seen but referenced internationally, and for that. So that's also an important one. So moving on, right? We're going to talk about sort of the whole disruption aspect of it. So we're looking at this whole rewriting of the rules from AI and how that happened, what that really means. So just some numbers that you might want to be thinking about here. That just it's one slide with numbers. That's all. I promise there are not too many stats here, but some of these numbers are pretty amazing. 93% of Google AI mode searches end with 0 clicks to the website. So they do not lead to referral to your website. They don't lead there. It's all now going through AI, LLMs, and how things look at that. 3/4 of B2B buyers use AI tools today when they're looking at research. That whole awareness and consideration phase of the buyer's journey is increasingly done via the big LLMs, the big large language models like chat. So that's where we're looking at as well today in this, because that buyer's journey, if you have awareness, consideration being done in the AI conversation with someone, by the time they get to your website, it's much faster conversion. In fact, it converts 5 times higher than those traditional Google searches. And obviously over 500% increase in the growth in AI referred web traffic last year. And that's only growing this year. There's quite a lot of sources for this that you can read at the bottom of this page. It just, we don't have polls or anything like that for you, but we'd love to ask a question and, put your answers in the chat box and whatever, has your company already reviewed how ChatGPT or Google AI Overdrive or anything like that? Have you already looked at this? Have you analyzed how you are as a company in looking in the LLMs and how you're being referenced? Are you yes, no? Are you still planning to? Anyway, something to think about there. So how AI search actually works is certainly another one that you're going to have to be looking at. There's a lot of debate about this and a lot of discussion on this, but putting it down onto one slide, we thought we might just sort of break it down to its three major points. Someone, the user asks a question directly onto the platform, and those platforms can be ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Mistral, DeepSeek, whatever it is. They all work in that same function. You go out and you ask a question first. The AI reads the question. It's a language model, so it reads the question, it then synthesizes through billions of web pages, but not just web pages. It looks everywhere. It looks on your digital, so it's a complete environment. It looks at your LinkedIn. It looks on your social media. You can look at imagery now too. That started last October, so it's looking at video and imagery, alt tags, all of that. And then it gives you a clear answer, which is not a recommendation. It doesn't give you sort of links, a bunch of links. It gives you a synthesis for that. So, with all the sources cited, and that's where you want to be. That's in those citations that you want to be cropping up because your competitors are certainly there. Okay. So, there you go. So that's sort of, how they, and if you want questions on that, please, get back to us or you want to learn more about that, let us know. I guess the point here is just that whole new buyer's journey, sort of what does that mean for the buyer and the past buyer, those good old days when you just had keyword research, that sounds like an easy task now when you look back on it. Those, you did your keyword research, your alt tags, your metadata. If you were very sophisticated, you did hreflangs. You reviewed this every now and then, and that was about it. So it was those traditional searches. And then Google would pop up with these links that you would go through and you'd click on the ones you liked, and you were hoping to be on that first page. It is totally transformed with AI search. Totally. It synthesizes all the information. The AI is able to look at everything there, everything, everywhere, all at once, as it were, and figure out what are the most pertinent responses to you. So it's looking through authority. It's looking through the correct and authoritative voice to give back to you. And then it'll say, here are your suppliers for this. And that's your reference. So that you're able to engage with that very directly, okay? So there's no that sort of, form filling out and so on that you were trying to get as a metric. Now you're trying to get different metrics with AI. So that's it's really fundamentally changed for that. Pre-contact favorite wins 80% of the deals, and AI visibility is tied directly to revenue. If you're referenced in revenue in AI, you're getting your buyers at that consideration phase. So where are people looking? What are we looking at here? We have chat, a lot of still the biggest in market share. Copilot, Grok, Google Gemini, 18%, Google AI View. Claude is up there too, but I'm not sure why we don't have it here. These are all the platforms that buyers are using consistently. ChatGPT still has the largest market share. It has dropped considerably. It used to be up to 85% when it was first launched back in October 2023 for that traffic. I would say that the Google AI overview is also important because it's embedded into Google. And that's still people, that still has the largest market share in your search engine. That's over 1.5 billion users per month. Gemini is growing very fast. Claude is growing very fast. And obviously for digital marketing companies like that, we have to be au fait with all of them. The biggest one in Europe is Mistral. The biggest one in China is DeepSeek. Just another stat for you here, just because we're on the numbers page. As I've said before, for exporters, this is very, very important. Chat over, or just 20% of chat users are based in the USA. 80% of chat users are outside the USA. ChatGPT's largest market, India. Its second largest market is a regional Latin America. So if you're an exporter, this is AI visibility is even more important to you than for domestic plays. Joelle, do you want to talk a little bit about the business risk for this?
Thank you, Susanna. And absolutely. And again, the business risks don't mean to be over dramatic here with the slide, but it is something to really be mindful about. Really a quick section here before we dive into the meat of this. But what is at stake if you don't adapt, if you don't react to everything, Susanna? You've just some pretty staggering number there. And the biggest piece here that I really wanted to drive in this slide is that traditional SEO is no longer enough. We have conversation with our customers in our marketing program, saying we have a really strong SEO program, and that's fantastic. Traditional SEO over the years has delivered great page ranking on Google. We have really strong keywords, optimized content, huge backlink authority, and it takes a lot of work. The meta tags are in place. Technically, the website is really healthy, and that's great. However, that's the foundation. AI citation, LLM readable structure, and entity authority across all of these AI models, Susanna, that you've just showed us above, answer engine visibility. SEO really is, I want to say, look at it as the foundation, but AI visibility is that layer on top of all of that really will determine whether buyers in 2026 and beyond are actually going to find you, are actually going to find your website. Because AI visibility requires a lot more, because it's so complex, that ecosystem, that all of these LLMs, because there is so much information out there, they have so much information to sift through. So if you really have a very comprehensible content structure, look at your schema, your mockup, your JSON files, something like FAQs and Q&A content, that structure, it really simply redirects back to how people search on this LLM, and it all goes back to the user preferences, but also content that is, I love an acronym, EEAT, really like your experience, your expertise, authority, you are the authority, and then trustworthiness. So all of that is really understood by the LLM. So third-party signals, reviews, user-generated content, all of that really helps. And for exporters in particular, multilingual and market-specific signals. If you're selling in Latin America, if your website is specific for Mexico, Chile, Colombia, say it. In your addresses, really use the full form of the country. Give clear indication of who your website is for. And why this is important, another big number that I find really interesting as we look at this, 93%, that's a huge amount, 93% of searches in Google AI mode, so your Google, the first bit, actually end without a single click. You go on Google, you ask for a question, AI mode synthesizes, and as you were saying, your answers, summarizes everything that you could have found on your research. And for 93% of the users, that's enough. It's like, okay, I don't need to click to find the information. I know what I need. But that can be really, really detrimental if you don't update the way that you track how your success is in your digital space. Traffic is not a metric for success anymore. Your traffic on the website is declining. It doesn't mean that your brand is out there any less. It doesn't mean the customers are not seeing your website, or they're not seeing your website, they're not seeing your brand, or they're not thinking about your products. Your top 10 ranking, that you had on keywords might not be worth any more than, what it was. You worked really hard for that, but it's not worth as much anymore. About 7% of ChatGPT results appear in Google top 10. There are so many other ways to rank or to be visible in the LLMs that we'll see a little bit later. So what I want to show here is, like, we call it the zero-click crisis. Basically, is we need to change the way that we think about our metrics when we look for success and when we try to determine ROI for your website and also what your digital presence holistically. How can you measure the return on investment needs to be changed and needs to be rewritten, really. And there are some very specific risks for exporters and B2B companies in particular. So international buyers, we'll look at, sorry, okay, I lost the slide for a second. So 4 scenarios here where each of the scenario really is happening. And these are conversations that, Susanna, you and I have every day with our exporters and B2B partners. So, I'll let you, with loose pipeline, we're invisible to high value overseas buyers because someone else is there, because the signals are not strong enough, or localization is not strong enough for the LLMs, or competitors are getting there faster than us. They get cited, we don't. So market share really is eroding with no warning signals. And if you're not observing it, you will never know, and then you can't do anything about it. SEO rankings, as I mentioned, is no longer enough. So all of the investment you've made into your SEO programs over the year is sad to decline in return. Not all is lost, is not worthless, but you've got to add that AI layer on top. And again, talking about exporting multilingual markets, if they're left unserved, international growth targets become unachievable without these AI layers. So that is 4 clear scenarios that really pose some pretty specifics and meaningful risks if you don't address it. So the time is now, I suppose.
Okay. Well, enough about risks. Let's talk about opportunity.
I like that.
We very strongly believe that there is a first mover advantage for companies, and that there's a window of opportunity, or that window is open now for that. So that's very much what we're looking at, and what our clients are seeing at the moment, and we're feeling at the moment. So this is if we look, there's really if you look worldwide, there are 7 large AI platforms, Chat, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, DeepSeek in China, Mistral, and to some extent in Europe, and so on. But so there's not yet an absolute, plethora of them. There's just 7, so this is still manageable. There's an explosion of AI apps that go with this in terms of other of tech stack choices. But at the moment, there's just 7 big ones like that. So I think it's still manageable. And we are seeing things that are still shifting and moving. They haven't yet solidified, if that's the right word. So that means really that that window of opportunity is now for companies to get on board and make sure they are being referenced. Because once you are in that system and have a correct digital presence, which the AI models like and appreciate, and can see you and refer you as the authority, that's kind of sealed. I mean, yes, you continue to maintain that, but you've achieved that. It's sort of a moat around your company's digital presence that you want to establish as soon as possible. It's going to have a big barrier of entry to your competitors. That's really that that window of opportunity that we feel. And again, this is something I said earlier. AI allows smaller mid-cap companies to punch above their weight. If you are the authority, you make that widget or that niche product. You're making it for a while. You can rank higher than a global conglomerate, very effectively. For that. And as I said earlier, for exporters, it's absolutely vital that you have a knowledge, or at least of some localization or native content, native market content, which resonates with the LLMs. As I said earlier, LLMs is a global phenomenon, and in fact, the USA is not a top user at all. What does this look like in practice? Really, it looks, I've said after our program, but after a really serious program that you would initiate with AI visibility and chart, you would have, you would get your ROIs, you would get what are my KPIs, what are my key performance indicators for this. In the past, I'd want to be in the top, in the top 5, the top page of Google. Now I want to have it, let's say, for example, 12 product queries. I want to have my target markets, for example, here in Europe or in Latin America. I want those target markets. I want them to be referred in chat as well. I want the lead generation to spike, because I know that when someone's looking at the LLMs, they are converting 5 times faster than the traditional SEO. So those are some of the KPIs and some of the deliverables that you would want to have. And certainly when we're looking at this from a client's perspective, that's the sort of thing we're looking at as well. Let's get down to it then. Roll up the sleeves. Joelle, what about those sort of what we call these pillars of AI visibility? What does that mean for you?
Absolutely. Thank you, Susanna. 4 pillars. I've got a slide for each of them. We'll go through them just as a summary to show you. And again, it goes back to everything we've been discussing. So is that content structure? There needs to be AI ready, entity, authority, and trust signals. And then the technical side, how AI actually discovers your website. And then last but absolutely not least, especially if you're exporting, international AI visibility. So just to go into a little bit more on each of them. So the first pillar really brings us a shift from keyword density, having keywords optimized content, to question and answer structure. So I mentioned earlier, FAQ, for example, FAQ and Q&A blocks on your website very often get pulled in verbatim. So you can kind of control how you want your answers to be structured, but also comparison articles drive something around like 33% of all AI citations. So links that makes it into AI answers. Really good structured pages also help. So this very much we see as a content strategy transformation. It's not just writing content, but it's quality content. And this brings that authority and this trust signals, teaching those AI models who you are, proving you're trustworthy, proving that others are talking about you. So this brings us to the second pillars, where AI models can aggregate signals from across the entire website. So very important, the LLM don't just stop at your website. They look at your social media presence, whether you're cited in review programs, whether you are on Quora, Reddit. We call it an ecosystem. So anywhere that you're cited, a company that describes itself, inconsistently across all of the different platforms, has kind of like a thin third-party presence, might not be seen as trustworthy. So this is really important, and that's why starting now matters, planting all these little seeds. And that brings us into the third pillar, where we'll move on to the technical AI discoverability, the technical foundation. Schema markup is the single highest impact action. If you've got to take one takeaway from this slide, look at your schema, make sure you have the JSON files on your website. The language of AI discoverability, that's how AI crawls your website, and that's how you'll find all of those, how you'll find your content. So IBT Online AI readiness audit, just say we run all the time, assess all of these 6 dimensions. So the schema, site speed and core vital, sitemap and crawl architecture. Are you mobile friendly? Are you accessible? Do you have all of the LLM permission on your robot and AI docs, .text files? If you got your this is really hard to say. It's harder to implement than to say. Have you got all your canonic links set up correctly? So if you have any questions about this, if you're not sure, do get in touch. We have an AI readiness audit that we can run together, and that will at least give you a little bit of a scorecard to see where you're starting from and where you should be investing first. And that really brings us to the fourth pillar, which is very, very important, as I mentioned, especially if you are exporting, which is that international piece. This is very much where at IBT Online we thrive, and we've built our business on, and is our international success for our exporters companies. We are an international digital growth agency. We operate in 25 languages. We've done this for over 20 years. So this is not supposed to be a pitch, but, you know, trustworthiness, as we mentioned, we have some of the credentials and some of the notes to show you that if you have any questions about how you should be targeting Europe versus Japan and Korea, the Middle East, Latin America, all of these markets require slightly different takes. So please do talk to us if you have any questions, if you have international website, if you don't have international websites yet, and how can you make sure that your digital presence, however it's structured at the moment, actually can work the hardest for you from now and then growing into 2026 and beyond. Very conscious of time, but again, one word on the IBT Online solution. We have worked really hard over the past couple of years in keeping ahead of the curve and designing programs that are very much tailored to make sure that we do the AI readiness assessment, but then can also tackle generative engine optimization, answer engine optimization, and large language model LLM optimization. All of these we call our AISO. We do love an acronym in marketing, but I've spelled them all out here just in case I'd forget one of them, because God forbid. So AI search optimization really is the convergence of all of these. And what this means is that you have a program that looks at where is the starting point, where is the data, what's the data telling us about your website, your competitors, where in the AI and LLM world are you standing at the moment, how can we build a foundation, and then how can we work together towards making sure that you increase your share of voice in the LLM, you increase your traffic to the website, and eventually, you know, the bottom line, how can you increase your leads, your marketing qualified leads, your customers from those AI searches all the way through to your pipeline. So we'd love to talk to you more about this. You know, please put a note into the chat if you'd like to receive a little bit more information, or reach out directly to either myself or Susanna. Respond to the email you received today with the link. We'd love to talk. As you can tell, we'd love to talk about this for hours, but I've only got 30 minutes today. So Susanna, over to you for the closing remarks. We're nearly at time.
Indeed, we tried to pack a lot into this, so we're both sort of racing away here. We should just take a moment. Let's summarize quickly. AI, there are risks to your business if you're not involved. Think of it as an opportunity. Your best bet, especially if you're a small mid-cap company, especially if you're exporting, is to get on board now. It requires quite a lot in terms of the restructuring of your content, schema markups, some technical aspects, and then a very serious ongoing nurturing and repositioning for making sure that your digital assets are giving you the best possible authority that you can get on the digital side. And remember, it is a synthesis of all of your digital presence, not just your website. There's a couple of things you can do, and some of them are free to our attendees today, so take advantage. If you would like an AI visibility check of your current US website or your current international websites, let us know. If you could drop your email or send us an email afterwards. Joelle, maybe if you could put our emails into the chat box, please. And, or drop us an email, get in touch with us, and you're eligible for a free AI visibility check. So it's an assessment of how much different LLMs are currently looking at your website. We can also give you free of charge an AI and a geo website performance review. So this is particularly about your website, how it's looking right now, how mobile enabled it is, how structured it is, how slow, how fast, but also the AI visibility on it. And if you want to have a one-to-one with myself, with Joelle, with any of our team members, you could also just let us know on the contact button on that. For that. So that's sort of some freebies and takeaways for you today. As I said, please just get in touch or drop your email into the chat or the Q&A. And then as a sort of conclusion, just to say really that it's now, and that window of opportunity is open now, and it is absolutely being built right now. So it's a great time to look at this as a tremendous opportunity to really boost your brand and get high convergence lead generation. So you don't just stuck in that endless MQL, marketing qualified lead, where something drags on and then disappears. You will get leads in that convert 5 times faster than your old Google SEO start. So there you go. There's a lot of your competitors already doing this. Nearly 50% of marketeers are planning on doing this. You need to get on board with this too, for that. Joelle, we're 2 minutes over time. That's not actually too bad for us. There's 1 or 2 little questions though, Joelle. I'm just going to throw them at you because I've talked too much. So it's your turn. Joelle, just a quick question. We used to devote time every month to SEO. If you were to balance between SEO and GEO, what sort of level would you give 20/80, 50/50?
That is such a good question. And it's hard because where does SEO and where does GEO, start and stop? It very much depends on your program. But as I mentioned at the beginning, there are so many things that you've already done through SEO, but now is the time to step it up. So I think very much start from that AI readiness, because that's going to tell you how much your SEO program is already covered. But if I have to give a number, I'd probably say we're in the 70 GEO, 30 SEO, because anything that you do for GEO will also benefit your more traditional SEO efforts. So nothing is, is not like a giving away from SEO. It's just enhancing it. Focusing on GEO, I think, is going to future-proof your website and your ecosystem, not just your website. Let me be clear on that.
Thank you. And there's quite a few of you asking if the slide deck and recordings are available. I've got quite a few asking for the recording. Yes. Again, if you could just pop your name into the chat or the Q&A. We don't want to, clutter up your inbox if you don't want to have the slides or recording. So if you guys pop your name in the Q&A or the chat box and say yes, please, or send me that or whatever, we'll happy to send you the recording and the slide deck. Just another question, Joelle, is coming your way. For a marketeer, do you recommend one LLM over another?
Oh, again, this is really tough, and we're no indoors here. I've tested them all. I use several, so it very much depends on your tech stack. Whether you are a Microsoft user and you go down the ChatGPT route or the Copilot route, whether you are a Google interface and you prefer Gemini, at the end of the day, I think is about sticking and really learning how it works. So when you make a decision, make sure that it's right for your business, that it has all of the tools that you need. If you're a bit more advanced, Claude offers a lot of different options for more advanced interfaces, for example. But I think it's just important to make sure that you know how to use it and take the time to train it and take the time to really get it to understand how you like your content, put it like that. But it's hard to recommend one over another.
I do remember that stat. We were looking at this a couple of weeks ago, Joelle. I think it was like in 2015 or 2016, there was like 150 different marketing sort of big tech apps. Today there's what, 14,000?
Just under 14,000 is incredible. Yes, it's just impossible. We'll never be able to use all of the tools. So it's a matter of like making some decisions and
yeah, and really digging in, getting to know them. We're in the process of becoming a cloud partner, by the way. But as Joelle said, we use a lot of them. That's it for time. There are a few more questions, but we've sort of run out of time. We said we keep this short and sweet. We will send you the recording and there's the remaining questions we'll just send you by email then. Thank you all so much for joining today. We really appreciated it. We hope it was of use. If you take away one thing, it's basically you got to move on this. It's important. It can be a tremendous opportunity for you. It can really drive your sales funnel and convert and make you as marketeers look absolutely like stars that you are. Joelle, thank you very, very much as always for joining me today. And thank you all so much for spending some time with us. Hope to see you all soon. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.